Hey everyone, and thank you for joining me tonight. If you have never joined us for one of our online discussion forums, my name is Monalisa and I'm one of the advocates here at the Fostering Kinship Carers Association. So every month we actually do these Facebook online discussion forums for a couple of reasons. The very first reason is it allows me to talk about some of our hot topics that carers want to know all about. And these topics are based on carer feedback, so it's what you guys tell us that you want to hear more about. And the other reason is because for a lot of you, you may not live here in Darwin, and if you do, you may not be able to come into the office during standard business hours. And so what these online discussion forums allow you to do is not only ask me questions while I'm online like this, but it does also allow you to arrange appointments with me, to meet with me and discuss any challenges or concerns you are having in your caring role. And we can have those meetings, whether it be over the phone, in the office, or online like we're doing now. Whatever suits you best. So there's a couple of the reasons why we do have these online discussion forums every single month. It is on the last Wednesday of every month from 6:30 to 7 o'clock. Hey Effie, thanks so much Effie for joining us tonight. Always one to join every single month, so I enjoy seeing your name pop up. If you are joining us, please make sure you leave a comment in the comments box. Just say hello. I'd love to see who's joining us tonight. So this month, I'd love to chat about the Charter of Rights. So it's become really apparent to me in a lot of my meetings lately, and when I am meeting a lot of our carers or you're calling and making queries, it's become really apparent that a lot of you don't know that you have a Charter of Rights. In fact, a lot of you don't actually know that you as carers, you absolutely have rights. So tonight I want to talk more about what the Charter of Rights is, explain to you what it is, but more importantly, kind of explain to you and break it down how you can practically use this in your caring journey. So this is what the Charter of Rights look like. So that's just the front page, and then it just goes through in more details about what your rights are. So this was endorsed and launched by Minister Dale Wakefield in 2017. And it's because, again, carers, you absolutely have rights, and this is the outworking of those rights. There are 8 fundamental rights, and it's not limited to those 8 rights, but there's a lot that's included in those 8 rights that we've taken into consideration. I think what's really important is you should know that this Charter of Rights was written by carers for carers. So it's not something that the government decided this is what carers should have, and these are what their rights should be. This was directly from feedback about what carers believed should be their rights. So if you don't have a copy of this, if you don't know where to find it, I will post a link after we post this post so that you can get direct access to it. We have hard copies like this in our office, so feel free to stop in and grab a copy. There's copies on our website as well. But if you'd like me to send you a copy, so happy to do that for you as well. So as I was saying, there are 8 fundamental rights, and those are the right. You have the right to be informed. You have the right to be consulted. You have the right to be respected. You have the right to be supported. You have the right to feel safe. You have the right to be valued. You have the right to be treated fairly. And you have the right to maintain privacy and confidentiality. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go through in a little more detail about what's incorporated in each of those rights. But I also want to go break down in more practical terms about what you can do to use those rights in action, how they can apply to you in your caring role. And so some of the examples that I'm going to use for each of those rights, it's not limited to the examples I'm using, but the examples I am using, they're real life scenarios. They're the more common scenarios. And so they're just examples for you to kind of get how you can kind of use your rights. So the very first one is be informed. So your right to be informed means you have the right to have clarity around your role as a carer. You have the right to have information regarding the child in your care to assist in your carer role. And you have the right to be provided with Territory Families policy and procedures. So a lot of feedback we had from carers is that you can't actually do your role unless you have background information about the children that are in your care. And that's not only so that you can provide the best care possible, but it's also because it helps you build a rapport with a child that's in your care. If they find out that you know what their favorite food is, they're going to be like, oh, awesome. This carer not only wants me here, but they know about me. They've made the effort to learn about me. And that just helps build a little bit of that trust from the onset. So how you can get to know some of that information is by 3 key essential documents: your essential information record, a care plan, and a placement agreement. So if you don't have any of these documents, those are the 3 most important information that not only says what kind of care that needs to be provided to this child and the ongoing care that needs to be provided to them. The placement agreement is your legal contract to say that you have care of this child, so that if someone turned up and said, who said you're allowed to have this child, you can produce this document to say, here's the contract that says so. I can legally have care for this child, and it doesn't mean you've just gone and gotten the child from nowhere. And your essential information record, that tells you all the background information about why that child came into care, what some of their routines are, what are they scared of, what are they like, do they have family members. Sometimes it can go into a little bit about the trauma that the child has experienced. And so you have the absolute right to have those documents. If you don't have them, you need to ask for them. If your case manager doesn't have it straight away, give them some time to prepare those documents, but ensure that you're following up, making sure that you're going after a week of asking for it. Hey, what's the process of this? What's the progress of this? Don't leave it for months and years. We have carers who have not had any of these documents for months and even longer, years. So you have the right to be informed. You have the right to ask for those documents. Another common one is meetings. So we have a lot of carers who get asked 24 hours prior to a meeting, please come in, let's meet and discuss what's happening. That's pretty much the only notification that they get. For you as a carer, you're like, what's happening with what? What's happening with me? What's happening with my child? What's happening with my family? You're kind of wondering, what do you mean? And so you have the right to ask, not only is what is the meeting about, but who is going to be in there. So firstly, every meeting should have an agenda. So make sure that if you are being asked to come into a meeting, you are asking for an agenda. So that way you get to see what that meeting's about, you're informed about what it's fully about, and you get to prepare yourself. And by preparing yourself, that means if you need support from the Foster and Kinship Carers Association, so us, either myself as the advocate or our carer support officer, Izzy, or Martin can support you at those meetings, and you don't have to go in there by yourself. Another common thing that happens is when you are going into your meetings, often you would think that you are meeting with your case manager, but then you might walk into your meeting and you will find that there's 3 or 4 other people in the room. That can be a little intimidating when you firstly don't know what you're meeting about, but then you go in and you've got 5 other people sitting there. You have the absolute right to ask who is going to be at that meeting. And if there's going to be more than one person at that meeting and you're not comfortable going by yourself, then again, that's where you can ask us to provide your support at that meeting. So those are little examples about how you can use being informed, your right, in a practical sense. So the second one is to be consulted. You have the right to be consulted. So the biggest thing I can say about having the right to be consulted is in any kind of care planning. So that means your normal care plans, that means your leaving care plan, and that means transition plans. So case managers, car support workers, anyone that in your care team, they can't present you with a care plan and say, here is the care plan, please sign off on it. You've got the right to be consulted in that care plan. You've been providing care for that child. Nobody else knows that child better than you do. Policy does state that care planning, any kind of care planning, again, that's transitional leaving care planning, it's a consultative process. Consultative means you've got to be consulted. So if anyone tries to present a care plan to you, just for a signature or email it to you and say, these amendments I've made, please sign off. That's not okay. Make sure that you are inputting your opinions in there, and not just by return email either. Consultative process means you come together and sit around a table and discuss that further. It's not just going back and forth an email. That needs to be a face-to-face conversation. So that's the right to be consulted. You have got the right to be respected. Can I please stress that if you are sitting in a meeting of whatever kind, it could be a care plan meeting, it could be a school meeting, maybe a meeting to organise an education plan. If for any reason anybody in that meeting is rude to you, there's absolutely no, you are not to sit there and take that. If you're being disrespected in a meeting, if you're feeling like nobody is listening to you or you're not being heard, you have absolutely every single right to say, I'd like to put a stop to this meeting. You can either put a stop to it so you can step out and take a breather for about 10 minutes. Believe me, that's happened. I've had to do that before. I've had to ask my carers to do that before. And I've had to ask case managers to do that before, to step out of the room for just 10 minutes so we can have a break. So if in any way, if you are feeling like that, intimidated, disrespected, not heard, not supported, ask to put a stop to the meeting, or just for about 10 minutes, or you can ask for the meeting, not even ask, you can say the meeting's going to come to a close. I'm not comfortable for this to continue. Let's talk about this at a later date. Another form of, in a practical sense of how that can work for you as well, is if anyone in a care team is rude to you and disrespecting you again, you have the right to escalate that. So we've had carers in the past who have reported someone that has been rude to them to a team leader, and then that person has found out about that, and then they've said, why have you done that? You shouldn't have reported that. You should just come to me and let me know about your complaints. We've had other carers who have gone to try and submit a complaint through our territory families complaints, and they've been told, no, just do that with me. You have absolutely every right to escalate a complaint. If you're not being heard at one level, you have every right to continue escalating that until you feel like you are being heard. And if you're struggling to do that on your own, or you think you need support to do that, again, that's absolutely why I'm here. I have a loud voice and I try and make sure everybody hears it, so I'll make sure you get heard as well. Please know that you have absolutely every right to be respected. You have the right to feel safe. Another scenario is we had a carer who there was a child in their care who did get a little physically abusive, and the carer reported that child in their care to the police and reported it to the case manager. The case manager did say, maybe not the best thing to do, because it could be potentially it's bad for the child. And as unfortunate as that is for the child, you should not be putting your safety at risk because it might affect other people. Your safety and the safety of your family is paramount. So if you're concerned about your safety, if you get into some kind of physical altercation with a child in your care, please make sure you report that. Report it to your case manager, report it to your police, report it to CIT. It's not okay for you to stay silent on that, so make sure you are reporting that. It is your right to be valued. So being valued means the right to say no. It's the right to be treated with respect and dignity. The right to be valued as a member of the care team. The right to respond, and the right for respectful interactions with territory families with consideration of culture, religion and personal values. One of the more common ways that I could present this and how you can use this when you are, again, in your caring journey is being valued means that if you can't. An example of this is we've had carers who have been unable to make meetings, either because they've been scheduled at very late notice or something has come up or they just can't make it. And they've been told that, no, you do have to come and attend this meeting. That's not showing any value to you, your time or your lifestyle. You might need to go and make alternative arrangements for your children, and that's not always possible. So The right to be valued means that if you can't make a meeting, you can reschedule that meeting, and everyone that is involved in that meeting must respect that and must value that. You have the right to speak in meetings. So we've had examples in the past about carers who have gone to a meeting or have brought a support person with them to a meeting, and they are both told, or their support person is told, that they are not to express an opinion on something, that they are to sit and observe and sit and listen to what's being presented. You're a carer, so you're highly valued. You're highly valued and valuable. When you're in a meeting, you have absolutely every right to speak. You are not there as a silent observer. Your support people are not there as a silent observer. If there is something that is not right, you say so. So please make sure that you're not sitting there in a meeting and just being presented information and not having a say in anything that is said. You're so much more valuable than just being an extra body in the room warming a chair. You have the right to be treated fairly. So this goes back a little bit into, again, if you're being disrespected or not treated right, or treated fairly. I'm gonna sneeze. I have a little bit of a cold, sorry everyone, so if I am coughing and spluttering all over the camera, I'm so sorry. So being treated fairly means you have the right to complain. So if something doesn't work out for you, there are several avenues for you to complain. You can complain to us, or you could complain to Territory Families Complaints Line on their website, and they advocate for you to do that as well. So please make sure you use those avenues. And finally, you have the right to your information remaining private and confidential. We have had an instance where a case manager has shared private information with a child in care's family and their family members. That's not okay. So if that happens, you need to make sure that you are reporting that through, not just letting it happen. That's absolutely not okay. So those are the main 8. And I'm hopefully gave you some practical ways about how you can outwork that. Another practical way of how I'd love everyone to use these is make sure you have a copy with you, and take your copy with you everywhere. Have a copy in your home, have it on the coffee table, stick it on the fridge. What I love seeing is when I go to a meeting with some of our carers to support them, they will bring a folder or their journal, and in it has all the information they need. It has the care plan, the child's care plan, it has notes they've noted, medical records, and everything like that. And on the very front page of that folder is their Charter of Rights. That means that when you walk in with your folder, with all your information, and this Charter of Rights on the very front page, everyone in that room knows that you know what your rights are. At any point, if your rights are being breached, you can say, stop, you are breaching my rights as per the Charter of Rights. So I can't stress enough, everyone, please make sure that you have that with you, particularly when you are having to address something about your caring role, and make sure it's easily accessible. I still have to refer to this several times, even though there's only 8 points there. I have to refer to it all the time, because I don't remember all of it off the top of my head, and with all the stuff that you guys have to do, I'm assuming you wouldn't either. So make sure it's easily accessible on your fridge, on the coffee table, in the car, wherever. So that is your Charter of Rights. So as always, we always leave a little time after this information session for you guys to ask your questions or have any comments. Now, your questions that you do ask, it does not have to be about the Charter of Rights. It can be about anything you'd like. This time for you, we've got about another 10 minutes. So this time is for you guys to ask whatever you want. So please go ahead and ask away. And while you are asking your questions, I would just like to say a huge hello to Lauren Lockyer. Thanks for joining us, and to Louisa Taylor. And thank you, Louisa. I hope this is great information for carers, and that some of that advice and that practical stuff really does help or work. And if you ever want to discuss this further, guys, or discuss, maybe different ways that you want to address this or use your charter of rights and outwork that, then please let me know. We can arrange a time to speak with you. While I am waiting for your questions to come through, something I do want to let everyone know about that's very, very important. Today, we have posted on our Facebook page and on our website the nominees to our board of directors. And so there are 6 nominees. Our annual general meeting is on Saturday. So if you are in Darwin, it will be at 4 o'clock at the H Hotel on Mitchell Street. And it's an opportunity for you to come and vote for your board of directors. Can I encourage you to do so? A lot of carers tell us that, this is what you want to see. You want to see this change in the out-of-home care sector, and you want to see more rights and more resources for carers. Our board of directors are an incredible group that really drive the association towards that. They drive our goals towards achieving that. So it's important that you have a say on who is on that board, because they are your representatives and they ensure that that's where the association is heading towards. So that's on Saturday at 4 o'clock. Please come and vote for your board of directors. If you can't be there on Saturday and you are a member, because it's very important to note that only full members have voting rights. So if you can't be there in person, you can still nominate a proxy to vote on your behalf. So what that means is if Effie, because Effie I believe has a catering event on Saturday, Effie can't be there on Saturday. So she's going to nominate Helen, who is a full member and is coming to the AGM, and she's going to ask Helen to submit her proxy vote on the day. So that means Effie, even though she can't be there, still has a say in who is on our board of directors. So as I said, there are 6 nominees, but 5 board spots available. So it's important that you do vote. We posted on our Facebook page today who those nominees are, and they are also on our website. It's got all of our proxy documents on there as well. So please use those and complete those. If any of that is, if you can't see it, if it's gone missing in the Facebook page, if you can't get onto our website, can you please just call us then on 1300 030 928, and we can help you over the phone, or even drop into the office and fill out a form there. We can help you do that. So please, can't stress enough, go and check that out. Hey Helen, thanks for joining us tonight. I will bring a copy of the Charter of Rights with me tomorrow morning, because I am seeing you tomorrow morning. So I definitely will bring a copy of that with me. And unless anyone else has any questions, that might be us for tonight. AGM. It's probably what I'm going to leave you with tonight is the AGM. It's really important that you're either there or you submit a vote. So Saturday. And again, if you need help doing that, just give us a call on 1300 030 928 or private message us. Usually people will drop a comment or they'll private message us. So whatever works best for you. Our last Facebook Live will be next month before we all break for Christmas. So that'll be the last one for this year. So next month I will just go through about some of the end of year things that you need to make sure that you think about before you guys go off on holidays and before offices close down and all that kind of stuff. So tune in. Bring any questions you have, whether it's about travel and travel requests that you need to make and anything like that. Make sure you tune in next month as well. And hopefully we'll have exciting news then about who our new CEO is. So that'll be on the last Wednesday of next month. Thanks again for joining me tonight, guys. Have an amazing night and enjoy the rain. See you later.